the three is work your ass off. There is no magic bill. There is no magic out there. And it drives me crazy when people say that they don't have enough time to go to the gym for 45 minutes a day and work out. Or to do something for 45 minutes to an hour a day to improve. If it is physically improve or if it is mentally to improve. Imagine you read 1 hour a day about history. How much you will learn after 365 hours in 1 year. Think about if you study about the history of musicians, of composers, how much you would know. Imagine if you would work on a business, on some business that you want to develop every day for an hour. Imagine how further along you will go and get. So it drives me nuts because we have, when people say we don't have the time, we have 24 hours a day. We sleep 6 hours a day, so that gives you still 18 hours. Now there's someone shaking their head out here in front to say probably, I don't sleep 6 hours, I sleep 8 hours, right? But just sleep faster. So we have 18 hours a day. The average person works around 8 to 10 hours. So let's assume it's 10 hours, so we have 8 hours left. Then you travel around an hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day. So now you have still 6 hours left. So what do you do with these 6 hours? What do you do with these 6 hours? Then we eat a little bit, then we schmooze a little bit, talk a little bit to people and all that stuff. But you can see how much time there is available if you organize your day. So you got to work hard.
I just believe that. I believe that I can create whatever I want to create. If I can put my head on it right, study it, learn the patterns, and you know, it's hard to put into words, some real metaphysical, esoteric nonsense, but I feel very strongly that we are who we choose to be. The only thing that I see that is distinctly different about me is I'm not afraid to die on a treadmill, right? I will run.
You would not be outworked.
I will not be outworked,
right?
Period.
Yeah.
You know, you might have more talent than me, you might be smarter than me, you might be sexier than me, you might be all of those things, you got it on me in 9 categories. But if we get on the treadmill together, right, there's 2 things. You're getting off first, or I'm gonna die. It's really that simple, right? So, let's go back to the question about what if people block me out. It's gonna be 2 options. I'm gonna get back in, or I'm gonna be dead. Right? It's like, you're not going to outwork me. It's such a simple, basic concept. It's the guy who is willing to hustle the most is gonna be the guy that just gets that loose ball. You know, he got two. Ooh, God, he hustled, he grabbed that one. That was gonna be out of bounds, but he saved it back in. It's like the commodity that I see the majority of people who aren't getting the places they want or aren't achieving the things that they want in this business is strictly based on hustle. It's strictly based on being outworked. It's strictly based on missing crucial opportunities. I say all the time, if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
But I always tell my kids, they were like, yeah, we know you work hard. I'm like, no, it's not just I work hard. It's that I put in harder work than everybody else. I work harder and harder and harder and harder. And when everybody's sleeping, I'm doing more. I said, and that's what it takes to have that kind of success. It's just a relentless pursuit of creativity.
Let's talk about mindset and philosophy, because we tell students that it's very important that you have a personal philosophy. In your basketball career, did you have an articulated competitive philosophy, something short that meant something to you that really stood for what you played?
My philosophy was a very simple one. And this is where I think film plays a big part of my life. Rudy was one of my favorite films growing up. Right? And if you guys haven't seen Rudy, I suggest you go, you watch Rudy.
The reason why it's a tepid, it's Notre
fine.
Dame.
It's
Notre
fine.
Dame, so we don't get
guys,
crazy about that.
I think the USC football program has done okay over the years. So it's, but after watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, and do that for 20 years, what do you have?
Bunch of graduating students who are probably going to their first full-time job. Do you have any advice for students entering an organization and being the youngest person, not in the room, but in the whole company?
Well, in business, it's a little different. I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. Right? You always want to outwork your potential. As hard as you believe you can work harder than that.
I would watch my mother get up in the morning. She would drive a school bus. Then she would go and work in a clothing store. Then she would go back, drive the school bus, come home and feed us. Then she worked with the United Cerebral Palsy, and she was a caretaker. And I never saw her sleep, And it was just incredible. So when I was at the age of 12 years old, I wanted to step up.
And you were in Mount Vernon,
and yes, I was in Mount Vernon. I went from Harlem. She moved us to Mount Vernon because, my father got killed, in Harlem. And she just wanted a fresh start for us. And she made it happen and always figured out a way, out of no way, to send me to the best schools. And I identified that. I identified all of the sacrificing that she did. So when at 12 years old, I was like, I need to help out.
And this is the most important stuff. Like I was lucky enough to have two parents who loved me, and then I went to a public school. And when you think about the fundamentals, you went to, I think it was a Catholic school, right?
Yes. I went to Catholic schools all my life. I was an altar boy, and I went to a Catholic school in grade school. Then high school, I went to a Catholic school, Mount St. Michael's. I went to an all-boys school. So that kind of made me girl crazy, because all day long I was with boys. So by the time I got out, and it was a unique experience. I think everybody's experience shapes them.
Yeah. And
before I got to high school, that's when I started working. I started putting, a legal age on my resume, and I went and I doctored up a birth certificate so I could work, because I had to do that. I wasn't trying to be deceiving, but I had to help my mother out. I couldn't watch her work herself to death. And so I began a paperboy franchise.
We were talking about, because you were paperboy, I was a paperboy.
Yeah. So, paperboy franchise, and that kind of taught me so much. I would take all of the kids that were going to college, I would make a deal with them, give me your route, and then I'll send you half of the money. So I would give them an offer they couldn't refuse. So, you get 6 routes. I started making up to $500 a week, and that was able to help out with the house and groceries, and that gave me a sense of of just like pride that I was able to help my mother out and my family. And so from that, I became like my mother. I had my paper route. I was a gas station attendant.
Oh,
I worked in a Mexican restaurant, and so that's kind of how my journey began.
I am a workaholic, and I don't believe in no. I don't believe in I need to sleep. If I'm not sleeping, nobody's sleeping.